The Woodlands Health and Rehab Center offers a safe transition program to get you well and back to the community. Our outdoor therapy area features different terrains and offers a unique therapeutic experience. Come see the difference. The Woodlands Health and Rehab Center, living made better.
I can promise you as chairman, we're not going to vote on this tonight. In fact, after we hear from the public, I can promise you we'll probably have another public hearing. There's a lot here to digest. I'm sure everybody in the audience is going to have a little bit different spin on it than what we did. And we might run into things we hadn't even thought about yet. So we're not going to vote on this tonight. And if we make very many alterations to it, I think I have the right to tell them that we will have another public hearing. We want to make sure everybody understands this, including us, before we do this.
Right.
So with that, I'll open it up to the public. Anyone in the audience? Yes. Would you click? We need your name for the record, please.
My name is Chuck White. I've talked to Shelley. I want her to know that I'm not trying to attack her, but I want to read what she said. She said it was geared towards commercial. It says it would regulate an individual camping on their property. It doesn't say somebody creating a campground to provide facilities for.
What page is that? So we
It's the first page. It says staff reports at the top. Go down to the first, second, third paragraph and start on the second line about 3/4 of the way down. And again, I'm not trying to, my whole problem is that we all have neighbors, okay? So anything y'all pass, when it's in writing, it's the law. So when it's the law, that's what y'all have to go by. So where I have a piece of property, I have 4 campers on it, on the river. We go where we stay during the summer. I don't know that we've ever stayed more than 2 weeks at a time, but the campers sit there for sometimes 2 and 3 weeks, sometimes 2 and 3 months, depending on. And we pull them in and we pull them out. So it would definitely affect me. And I talked to Shelley and she said, you know, if the hang-up was the number, that maybe they could increase the number. I would personally like to see the number 5 or more, because it says down here 3 or more. So that means you couldn't have more than 2 on anything under 5 acres. And if you did, you have to go through, there's 3 pages of stuff to be a campground, which nobody's going to do. A lot of the county that's rural, you could build a house and nobody would ever know it was there, depending on where it's at. But, you know, I do see the need for some of these regulations in here, but she told us that we would be grandfathered in if we were already there, but it doesn't, I don't see that anywhere in writing, and I'm ignorant, I don't know all the laws. But I would like to have something either verbally from the board saying you're grandfathered in if you're already there, or something. And then the other thing I have, you know, I don't care about the campgrounds. Once you get to a campground status, whatever that is deemed to be, certainly there need to be regulations. You can't have a campground with people dumping sewage on the ground, or you can't have, I mean, that's obvious, okay? But there's some stuff in there, the definitions, and again, Shelley did try to clear this up. I talked to her, God bless her soul, for three times, and she still never got it through to me. But all I understand is what I read. So it talks about a motorsport park. And so I have a son that likes to ride his motorcycle around and around and around the field at my property. And I can't find what it says, but it says vehicles for recreational use. It doesn't say on there, I know she's saying commercial, it does not say that somebody's trying to open a motorsport park and charge a fee for it, that they have to have a permit. It just says motorsport park is defined as, and it gives the definition, and it's in there. And at the end it says people riding 4-wheelers, ATVs, motorcycles. So that means my son and 3 of his buddies come over, and somebody calls the law. These fellas show up, and the next thing you know, we're in a civil suit because the regulations say that I'm operating a motorsport park because my kid's riding his motorcycle around the field. I just want some clarification. And you know, maybe, and the other thing is, this was poorly advertised in the paper. Okay, and I know Shelley said it was advertised and there was nobody at the public hearing. There was one little bitty thing in the newspaper that said address recreational vehicles. And You know, that turned out to be 15 pages of stuff. You know, it didn't say camping, campgrounds, motorcycles, it said recreational vehicles. In my opinion, it was very poorly advertised for the people that it affects didn't know what was going on. And that's all I got. That's my big...
Once it was written, though, and it is out there now, I mean...
It is out there. Yeah, I come in and got a copy, and that was Friday. And I did call my supervisor and the chairman, who never called me back. I appreciate that, too. So I left you messages. So from the numbers that I was given from the lady in the administrator's office. So none of them were cell phone numbers. They were like 962 or 965 numbers, whatever. But I did call and leave messages to voice my concerns. But anyways.
I'll have to ask my 4-year-old. I'll have to ask my 4-year-old.
Cleared your phone, yeah. But anyways, that's my concerns. I appreciate that you're going to have a second public hearing on this, and I hope y'all will go into this slowly.
I'll be very honest, I think we're probably going to end up sending us back to the planning commission to clean up stuff like that. So for the ones of you that have comments on specific little items, I'll make sure that Shelley has time, we can record all these things so we can clean them up, so we'll know what to work on when we send it back to the planning commission.
That's the majority of my grade. The campgrounds, and I hate to say the seasonal structure thing doesn't apply to me, but there are a lot of people, Alleghany County is a recreation area. You have a lot of people with hunting camps and things like that that are going to fall under this.
That's what we pride ourselves in.
I think it's just kind of hard when you start telling people what they can and can't do on their own property. Now, within rights, you have neighbors, so we have to be respectful, but
To me, the big difference here is when money changes hands. If you start charging for this stuff at once,
I agree 100%.
As long as no money changes hands, you ought to be able to invite anybody you want to come to your place, do whatever, as long as within reason.
Yeah, within reason. I mean, if you have a family reunion, you got 6 campers sitting there, they're going to come tow you away. I mean, what's going to be the rule?
Well, maybe we can clean it up and make sure it's understood by everybody. This is only in a paid type facility. That any of this stuff will apply.
Thank you.
Right, anyone else wish? You want to go name for the record?
Steve Caldwell. I live up in Falling Springs. And I do a lot of camping, not on my own property, but I have friends that camp with me. And I've got 4 or 5 sitting on my property that we all go Myrtle Beach, Kings Dominion, whatever. I'm wanting to know if they're sitting there yearly and there ain't a soul staying in them. There's something needs to be in there, because those campers don't move, and during the winter months they stay in the same place. It needs to be put in there that if it's not being lived in, period, I don't want to have to get a special use permit to park my friend's camper on my 3 acres of land. And
you're not in the camper storage business, so as long as
I'm not exchanging money. But I let them.
That's the secret, though. Somehow we need to clean it up right at the start.
Well, and that's just like Chuck said.
If you're in this business.
Yeah, we're not. This is the Alleghany Highlands. We need recreation. We go out of the Highlands for recreation. I don't feel like we should be charged to have to get a special use permit to park campers on our property that we pay personal property tax on. So, or taxes on the campers. And as long as they're paid up, I think it ought to be okay.
Shelley's taking notes. I can see the writing from here. So that's what we're doing here tonight, is to find out exactly what you're doing. Tell us what you're concerned about. Because this is no barn burning issue that we got to do tomorrow. I mean, we got plenty of time to make sure we do this right and everybody understands what we're doing. Well, thank you. With some, Mr. Shelton.
Well, I got this in the mail and I started reading it. I said, I know there's a lot of people going to complain about the way some of the things are worded in there. And I'm glad to see that the people showed up so that we can straighten this out and get it the way that it should be worded, that you can understand.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, ma'am. Over there.
Angie Graham. And basically, I've talked to several people, and I do appreciate you guys working with us to get it to where we need to be, but it definitely is not where we need it to be right now. Right now, you go to our property, there's 3 campers stored for the winter, and they'll be there. When it's springtime, summer, we'll have more, but I don't charge anybody. That's just friends, and we, camp, have fun in the summer, and I don't feel like I should have to get permits of any kind to allow that on my own property. And I know there's been I've been told that's not the intent of this, which I appreciate that that's not the intent of it, but the language is what really matters, it's not the intent. How it's written is the most important thing, because that's what you're going to have to go by. It's not what was intended. So that is my biggest concern, is to make sure we do get it to where we can live with it. And if it really doesn't make sense to me if you have to get a permit for my own, like, for example, my brother comes in from out of town, he brings his RV, he just parks it instead of, his stuff's already in it. He doesn't want to come in and stay at our house. He'd prefer to stay in his little place. But now I have to get a permit for that to happen. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't think that's what our,
Well, it says, yeah, I mean, that's not the goal, but that's what it says that I have to do. And, if you're trying to get around it and you want to get one for 30 days and stay out a day and then get another one, and you'll approve another one after that, then why are we doing this at all? It doesn't make any sense. It's basically how I feel about it.
anyone else wish to add to it? Yes, go ahead.
All right, Lance Carson. If I have a piece of property and I have my camper on my piece of property, at the end of 30 days, the way this states, I've got to move that camper. Well, where do I take it? That's my property. If it's at my house, where do I move it to for 2 days and then take it to Walmart for 2 days and move it back to my property?
I don't think that's in here this way.
Well, that's what, if you read it, it states that after 30 days, it has to be moved. It doesn't say if you're
I
living.
think that's if someone is residing in it. That's the turning point there. And I don't think anywhere it says if you have it parked for 30 days, it has to be moved for a day to then reinstitute that. So
We'll make sure
I
that's
think
cleaned
you're
up.
okay.
We want to make sure that some people are trying to skirt the law, and there might be a place or two in Alleghany County that somebody's trying to get by with just living in a camper that they set off the back of a pickup truck, and that's a little rough. They have no restroom facilities, they have, and some of them have kids, and we got to make sure that's what we're out to do, is to make sure that don't happen. Where you park your own vehicle on your own lot, we're not out to control that.